to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a female tech boss, online safety advocate, as well as a fellow podcast host, none other than Miss Kalie Nitzsche.
Yes, hi Daniel. Thanks so much for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Miss Kaylee, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Absolutely. I'm Kalie Nitzsche. I reside in the Chicagoland area, and I am the founder and CEO of a tech company called Safer Incorporated. We have a suite of digital properties and technologies called Fuzzy, which are really just aimed to help secure and foster safer relationships and connections online.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Miss Kelly. Thank you. And today let's talk about how to launch a successful startup. So tell us, beyond a great idea, what are the non-negotiable pillars that must be in place before you even think about launching, and which one of the most first-time founders overlook?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart. So just know that it's going to be an uphill battle. And, the statistic that 80% plus of tech startups fail, that's a real thing, which is daunting when you're starting out. But my biggest thing is put together a badass team, keep going. There are going to be really tough, rough times ahead, and you just need to know that and prepare for it. But push through, pivot when you need to, and keep a level of optimism and positivity because the down, the highs are really high, but the downs are really down. So if you can remain as um, emotionally consistent as possible, that's what I think really helps me just get the day-to-day work done.
Mm, yes. Everyone talks about problem solution fit. What is your process for truly deeply validating the problem is painful enough that people will actually pay to have it to solve?
Yeah, great question. So for me personally, I am someone that this problem happened to. So to understand my founder story is to get to know me really quickly, but and just very sorry, I have a really bad echo.
Okay, I'm gonna fix that. Just
Okay,
give me a
sorry.
minute.
Thank
No
you.
worries. Okay, go.
Oh, so much better. Thank you. Yeah, so to understand me is that, I have to be very vulnerable and honest with saying that the problem that I'm trying to solve for actually happened to me personally. And it's what's really fueled both my professional and now personal mission, which is to help keep and build trust online. How do we do that through fostering safer connections, whether that's meeting a date on a dating app or going into an interview from somebody that you met on LinkedIn. I was unfortunately catastrophically duped by somebody that I met on an app. And I've been in the tech world long enough to know that based off of where technology is today and how complex it's getting and how just our reliance, our over reliance on everyday usage, whether it's, ordering an Uber or getting on Facebook Marketplace and buying, a new coffee table, everything is really starting online, but we don't have safeguards or precautions in place that are making us safer, and that's a really big problem. So once I really started to dive into, is this something that happens to people not just, in the dating world, and I started to realize that online deception is a major problem, so much so that Google is predicting that in 2026 there's going to be an estimated $20 trillion of financial loss due to online scams. And that number to me is just completely mind blowing. So the problem is massive. And quite honestly, there's just not a lot of solutions or tools out there that are looking at identity verification the way that Fuzzy is. I don't know if you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Yes, people, be careful for those scam. Be careful, be careful. So, how do you distinguish between a genuine, scalable market opportunity and just a personal passion project?
Yeah, amazing question. So when I first started out, it was, obviously, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. So it was like really just like this deep burning passion that I had to help make sure that this wasn't going to help happen to other people. And once I really dove in and started doing my market research, I realized just what a massive problem online deception really is, how cumbersome and complex it can be, and how many different variations of fraud or scams that there are, whether that's financial, romantic, sextortion, offline violence, sexual assault, etc. So like there's just all of this very negative experiences that are happening from people getting duped or scammed online, and it goes back to the basic just the basic ask is this person who they say they are? And I am really kind of ringing the bell here for all of humanity just to start doing a quick, what I call digital gut check, to make sure that we are corresponding or interacting with people online and making sure that they are who they claim to be.
How do you handle or how do you distinguish between a genuine, scalable market opportunity and not just a personal passion that make more those projects more, let's say, more equal or more profitable in the near future?
Yeah, so I realized that, I was very sorry, I'm getting that echo again. Thank you. When I first came up with Fuzzy, it was very much a B2C application for an end user to verify somebody else is who they claim to be. And like most entrepreneurs, we hit what I would call like a massive need to pivot. And we realized, and I say we, meaning me and my amazing team that I've put together so far, we realized that from a B2B perspective, online scams and fraud are happening, but it was just happening in a different way. So think about celebrities, VIPs, politicians, major league athletes. These people are being impersonated, or their name, image, and likeness is being misused online. Well, Fuzzy had already pretty much built the back end technology to help with some of these more high visibility people in protecting and monitoring their NIL. So over the last 7 months, we've really created a strategic B2B um, solution called Fuzzy Watchdog that is going to very interestingly perpetuate our B2C go to market strategy. So having influencers and celebrities, police officers, government officials, you name it, people that are using Fuzzy Watchdog to protect their own NIL, start talking about Fuzzy, the actual app, to their social media followers, and really starting to promote a larger community of verified, authentic humans.
Strategy and the early days, Miss Kelly. Let's talk about the MVP or minimum viable product. What is the most common mistake founders make in defining viable, and how can they avoid building too much or too little?
That's a really tough question. I would say the number one thing about MVP is that a founder has to let all of their ego go out the window, because if you are just set on um, guardrailing what a product in your head needs to be and building that exact product, um, when you go to actually see if there's market validation and you're starting to get that customer feedback, et cetera, if you do not pivot or listen to that and adjust for changes or revise or iterate based off of what you're hearing, the product is going to be a failure. So I would just say the biggest thing for me was really being like relentless with understanding what is it that my customers or my end user really would want. And then, even though I had this amazing idea in my head, the MVP was a little bit different, and even the pivot from MVP to what we're doing now was massively different. But I'm still, at the end of the day, staying true to the mission and the vision of the company. It's just the way in which that we're looking about the actual business is different than I had anticipated at the beginning.
Miss Kelly, what does truly effective and resourceful pre-launch strategy look like for a bootstrap startup with the core ambition then cash?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you just said it right. I mean, things cost money. So your ability to fundraise at the early stages is just a huge advantage right out of the gate. It's very difficult to sell an idea. And although there are a lot of VCs that are claiming that they are, early stage P&E companies or VCs, the first question you might hear is, well, what are your unit economics? And it's kind of like, wait, why are you asking me that? I'm telling you about this incredible idea. So it's really finding the capital from friends and family, people that believe in you, people in your professional network that have seen you succeed in the past, and really just leaning into that as much as possible. You got to take some, personal risk. I took another mortgage out on my house because I realized that if I was going to go all in, I'm going to go all in across the board. I'm going to have to leave corporate America. Financially, I'm going to have to take a couple of risks. And I'm a single mom, where leaving corporate America was definitely, it was difficult in the sense like I didn't have that cushion or fallback that I would had been used to regarding salary and benefits, et cetera. So if you're going to do it, go all in. Don't half-ass it. Because if you do, or you're timid and you stutter before you jump, it's not going to be successful. And my biggest thing, and I know it sounds so trite, is just keep going. Some days are really tough, and you get terrible news. I mean, I had a bad summer. I met with over 150 investors trying to get additional funding secured. And that's a lot of no's until all I got was the one yes. And now we are just very healthy in terms of financially funded, and our, you know, our ability to get into further into 2026 is incredible now, but it took a lot to get there. So funding is important, assembling the right team. I had to convince and ask for personal favors just from people that I had worked with in the past, saying, hey, I don't have any money to pay you, but I'm going to bet on you, and here's a certain percentage or a stake in the company in terms of equity. Get your hands dirty with me and let's do this. So between that and just like the ability to grind it out and be scrappy where you need to, be innovative, do things a little bit differently, I think is a recipe for, getting through MVP to an actual scalable product.
Scalable products indeed. In the early days, Miss Kelly, you have been a magnet for attention without a big marketing budget. What is one unconventional but highly effective tactic you've used to acquire your first 100 customers?
So we're really banking on this strategy, but it's more so focusing on the B2B one to many, right? So offering this amazing tool, this innovative platform, this intuitive platform for VIPs, high visibility people, large social media presence, influencers, etc., protecting and monitoring their NIL, which arguably is their greatest source of income. If you're an influencer, that is how you're generating your livelihood. If we are able to protect that in any way and keep your brand safety, your brand integrity, reputation secure, the fuzzy ask is that, hey, we'll do this for you, but we would ask that you start to go talk about to your followers and your social media community that this fuzzy, genuine, authentic um, community is here, and to encourage your followers to get involved and to download the app. So we're really concentrating our efforts on looking at a B2B customer, and then from there facilitating out to mass amounts of B2C consumers. Sorry, I can't hear you if you're talking.
Yes, sorry.
It's
So, as
okay.
a female tech boss, online safety advocate, as well as a podcast host, what are your short term and long term goals?
So short term, we are laser focused on execution right now. We have just basically concluded our B2B watchdog pilot. It includes a few very large celebrity agencies. Most notably, we are working with the Boris Agency. So Boris Agency has the largest Major League Baseball players. So we have 25 MLBers onboarded to protect, people like Juan Soto, Tarek Skubal, Bryce Harper, and we're making sure that Watchdog is a really valuable tool for them and taking feedback that we're hearing, fine tuning our platform, increasing our rate at how we are building AI models to categorize and actually do the crawling of the internet to see if there is misuse on one's NIL. So execution is, critical, I would say, through the next 60 days. Long term, it is very much getting Watchdog to kind of the highest, most prominent people online with the most social media followers, with the largest platforms to start talking about a community full of authentic, real humans. And that is the fuzzy application for people to go verify themselves and be a part of this. So long term, it's a definite, look towards B2C. But right now we are laser focused on getting that B2B market right, giving them a product that they want to use and a product that they're willing to pay for. I can't hear
A product
you.
indeed that will resonate for everybody. And l- looking forward for more success, Miss Kaylee, and good luck to your goals. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, there's only one me. So that's what we say here at Fuzzy, right? There's only one Kalie Nitzsche, but I would just encourage anybody with an amazing idea or something that they feel very passionate about that could, um, you know, help or do, be a good fit in a particular market. Just do it. And I hate quoting Nike and sounding just so ridiculous, but I would say that there are people that have amazing ideas and they just live and stay in the brain and they don't ever go anywhere because it is a scary path and it's full of uncertainty and bumps and craziness and tears, but there is a ton of joy and pride and just overwhelming sense of accomplishment to know that you are single-handedly building something. For me, I get to help keep people safer while at the same time building a profitable company that, has a really good financial opportunity with it. So it's just this incredible combination of being able to provide a tool that people can actually use to stay safer, but then also create a company that is, on its way to hopefully being, I mean, I don't want to say a unicorn, we all say that, but being a company that's financially stable and that we're able to just repeat those processes, whether it's systems, procedures, people, technology, and giving the end consumer or our B2B companies something that's useful and valuable for them.
Thank you for that advice, Miss Kelly. Thank you. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Absolutely. So I just finished, and if you looked in the book right now, there's a ton of highlighting because it's called Traversing the Traction Gap by Bruce Cleveland. In layman's terms, it's just a very good breakdown or a how to for early stage founders to navigate. Okay, I have this amazing badass idea. How do I get it all the way to scalability? And there are some very defined stages through that that the author calls out. And he's a very, he has a ton of just acumen himself in business. He's coming from the VC land. He's Silicon Valley, 30 plus years of experience. So reading his novel, you know that what he's saying is true. He's gone through the trenches, he's done the hard learnings, et cetera, and he shares what's worked, what hasn't. and he just breaks down these different kind of phases or stages of a product go to market phase, whether that's just the original ideation of the idea all the way to repeatability and becoming like that just monster of a dominance in the industry that you're looking to provide a solution for. So I love the book. I thought it was really easy to read. Like it wasn't just like a snooze fest. And I actually just contacted him on LinkedIn and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a shout out on your book because I thought it was really amazing. I learned a lot and I'm actually thinking about your framework with how I'm going to market for my company." So traversing the traction gap.
Thank you for that recommended book, Miss Kelly. Thank you. And looking back, what is one thing you invested time or money in early on the provided an outsized return, and one thing that was a complete waste of resources?
Um, One thing that definitely gave me ROI was the people that I have brought to this team. And I am so proud of like the roster that we've built because this is just a group of super seasoned, incredibly talented, very smart, well-connected individuals. We each have our own strengths and we're really, adding a lot to the team. We are lean, we are scrappy. Everybody's willing to do pretty much any job. So definitely investment in people. One thing that was a complete utter waste of money was mm, I think that we spent a lot of money in the original days for the technology development because we are building something that's so new. It's not like we're looking at another company and trying to do it better. We're really creating something from the ground up. And with that comes a lot of different iterations for tech combinations, whether that's data partnerships, privacy, security, execution on outcomes or results, and I would say that that gets costly really quickly. So just being more mindful going into it that, this was really the direction that we wanted to take for the tech. These are the set of partners that we wanted to use instead of like testing and realizing, oh, this isn't a good fit, et cetera. So I would just say that creating a tech company is, it's definitely not cheap, especially if you're doing it and creating something that's new for the market. But excited for where we're at today. And yeah, the 2026 is our year, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Ah,
2026 is something lucky for you as well as mine, Miss Kelly, because I have a lot of podcasts to be published in 2026. And please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in the second season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fourth season. Science 101, sex 101 in second season of my baby podcast. Law 101, mental health 101, and Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Kelly, finally, if your startup journey were a book, what would its central theme be preserved? Lack, timing, team? And what is the one sentence lesson you want every aspiring founder to take from your story?
sure. I would say a common thread throughout my. Did you ask if I was a book?
Yes, if you are a
Yeah.
book.
If I was a book, it would definitely be grit. You have to be willing to power through some of the more challenging professional times I've ever had. So you have to just find it in you. Like, this is a passion that I built from something that was terrible that happened to me. I'm trying to help people, and I just have to continuously remind myself that when things get hard. So I'd say grit, tenacity, those types of you know, uh, characteristics are so important here. You mentioned team. Obviously, I'm so proud of mine. and just the ability to step into the role of a leader. This was a little bit different for me. I've always been, an enterprise salesperson. I've had my own bag of products that I had in corporate America. I've never been a boss. I've never managed a team before. I certainly would consider myself somebody to have leadership qualities, but I really got thrust into the CEO position with no sort of professional managerial training. So I would just say that, really step into that CEO founder role as a leader, paint the vision for your team so that everybody understands the direction that you want to go and take this thing. And then, of course, do it with grit and tenacity, and honestly, always be kind. I know that sounds so lame, but um, I just feel like we're in a world that's really troubled right now. And whether that's people that I'm working with or people that are employed by me, I try to lead with a sense of both urgency and kindness. And that's really two things that are super important to me as like the leader of this company.
Well, Miss Kalie Nitzsche, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much, Daniel, for having me on. If you could follow me on Instagram, it's just at Kalie Nitzsche. I'm on LinkedIn, and I have my own podcast where I share my juicy, scandalous story and get into the nitty gritty of the details. And this season, I'm on season two, where I'm interviewing other people that have been scammed or frauded. And it is called Just Looking Out. And there is not a G, just looking out. I look forward to connecting with you.
Just looking out, people. Let's support Miss Kalie Nitzsche because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering business will rise. So, Miss Kelly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome, people. See you soon.